have a story in my keynote that goes with this coin here in my hand. And on the coin is a picture of Grandpa and Douglas on the day that Grandpa taught Douglas how to ride his bike. You see, Douglas was, 6 or 7 at the time. And while all the other kids, it was like a rite of passage for them to learn to ride their bikes, for Douglas, it was more of a wish wrapped in a worry. He lived on the fearful side of life. And so he would sit in that window box and watch all the other kids ride past his window. And Grandpa noticed. And he said, "Come on, Douglas, I'm going to teach you how to ride that bike." And Douglas, his fear far outweighed by the joy of spending the day with his grandpa, agreed. And so they loaded up the pickup truck with their bikes and they headed up over to Harlow's Hill, best hill in town for learning how to ride a bike and sledding. Many a kid had sledded to a lost tooth at the bottom. But this morning it was quiet, as if it were waiting for a young boy and his grandpa to conquer their fears. They sat at the top of that hill on their bikes, and the grandpa said, "Okay, Douglas," he said, I'm going to tell you 2 things. He said, "Number 1, it is scary. This hill is big." And he said, "But I just want you to remember, just keep pedaling and you'll be fine. Just keep pedaling." He said, "And second of all, somewhere about halfway down that hill," he said, "I want you to trust that something bigger is guiding that bike, and loosen your grip on the steering. And raise your hands in the air and you'll truly fly." And Douglas nodded at his grandpa, sat on that bike, and Grandpa gave him a little push, and off he went. Sure enough, Douglas just kept pedaling through the fear, and about halfway down, he raised up his hands, and he flew. And that day, a message was whispered to both of them and to me, and now to you in this moment, that life is hard, that we're sitting on top of whatever mountain we're sitting on top of. I just got 2 pieces of advice. Number 1, just keep pedaling. Just keep pedaling. And number 2, somewhere along the way, loosen that grip on that bike. Trust that something bigger is guiding it. And raise your hands up in the air, and you'll fly. I was telling that story at an event, and when it was over, a lady came up to me, and she had received one of these coins, and she had just a death grip on it. And she had tears in her eyes. And she said, "I want you to know something." She said, "When I came to this event, I had been just earlier planning my exit strategy." She said, "But I heard your message. And I'm going to keep pedaling. And I'm going to hold on to this coin. And I'm going to remember that." That day, I learned another message. It's that if a simple story about Grandpa and Douglas and riding a bike can change someone's life, imagine what a simple story can do for your business. Something to think about.